Good evening, good afternoon, good night. We are the Melanated Council, and we stream every other Tuesday night from 9 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time-ish, and wherever you are in the world, if we are streaming and it says live and we are doing things that seem very live, then we are live. As always, please like, subscribe, share, and enjoy the show. So I'm actually using a new microphone today, so I really hope y'all can hear me. I mean, so far there's nobody here, so no one can hear me. I am officially the tree that fell in the middle of nowhere, and yet here I am making sounds. One moment, let me just make sure I'm making. Hmm. Looks like the sound isn't working. I don't know. I couldn't hear myself. Let me try again. Hmm. 1 second, sorry. Um. Okay, no, I am. Okay. I don't know why. The sound wasn't. Oh, because I didn't have the sound on. I was trying. Whatever. Trust me. I know how to technology. Um. Yeah. No worries, Toby. Take your time. I get it. It's it's been quite a few days for me too. um, so if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the show, we usually like to start by just talking about, something positive or just our days, weeks, or I don't know, anything that's just happened recently before we jump into the show. But yeah, so a lot's happened this weekend. There's been some really, really great news with my family that happened over the weekend, which is very exciting. Don't want to share too much yet, but I'll definitely share in the coming days and the coming weeks. But really good news, so really happy about that. Um, but yeah, over the weekend, was just really busy with family. Um, helped my boyfriend out, like rearranging his room. Kind of my fault. I was thinking that he should just do something else with his room, and I guess he listened to me, and it worked. I think it worked out really well. I convinced him to get this really cool bed frame that you could, store a lot of things underneath. I know it's not revolutionary, but how you access the things underneath your bed, you lift the entire bed so it has like a lifting mechanism. And since he has a room that's it's not small, it's a normal sized room, but he has a lot of things in his room, from just, moving from place to place, gathering things. And this is like one of the few places where he's lived for like a really long time. So he's just accumulated a lot of things. But I thought it was going to be more things. So it looks like he has, a good amount of storage now thanks to his new bed frame, which is really exciting. It's really cool to see how furniture can really like amplify your room, you know, or your space. Because there's definitely been times when I you know, got some new furniture and it definitely changed my life. Of course, furniture is just insanely expensive. And I think it's going to be even more expensive with, you know, just the coming days, weeks, months, especially with the tariffs and everything. Um, but what isn't expensive, but is absolutely priceless, is our host, next person coming to the stage. This this man does it all, and I wouldn't say never complains, but he definitely should complain more, and yet doesn't. Very, very humble man. Very just incredible. Hey, Jad. And it's, you know, with pride that I bring this man to the stage, the one and only Ron.
What's up, everybody? I love that intro. Oh, I thank you. Elle, I thank you. You're amazing. Just want to let you know you are amazing.
Thank you.
You're amazing. But I will say this much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. What I can say this much. Because of the fact that if I do start complaining, I just might start throwing hands.
Mm-hmm.
So I choose not to.
You'd be in every right to do so.
No, I ain't fighting. I'm fighting people. I'm fighting people. Yeah, like off the head of state when Bernie Mac got off the train and was smacking everybody in his path.
Hi.
Yeah, that'd be me. That'd be me. But hello, everybody. What is going on? I'm happy to be here. So happy to be here.
It's good to see you.
Yes, it's good to see you too. Oh my goodness. Today's been a day. Today has been a day. I mean, I had one of the teachers at my school go to the hospital.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. Messed around, had a seizure in the middle of class. Yeah.
Yeah. That's traumatic.
Yeah.
That's traumatic.
Yeah. And mind you, this is my youngest son's homeroom teacher. That's what makes it kind of a little bit more impactful, I guess to say. And yeah, and the crazy thing about all of this is it happened when I was on lunch. I'm like, really? So yeah, it's just one of those things where we hate to see it happen, and as much training as we go through, it's not enough to cover that. Not
No.
So hopefully we'll get an update soon, or probably by tomorrow we'll probably get an update as far as how everything is going. But other than that, he's been doing all right for the most part. There's another kid, I'm trying to get my camera angles correct. Y'all bear with me. There's another kid that I've adopted as my nephew that goes there. And he came crying to me, and I'm like, bruh, it's going to be okay. Like, I heard what happened, and not even knowing he was the main one I was looking for me too. So I'm like, oof, yikes. Then of course my youngest son, he came crying, and so it was like I said, it was really one of those things where it's like I wish I could make it up, but I can't. Just yeah. Today was a Tuesday. Today I would have flip flop today for it to be Monday, and what we went through Monday to be the day.
Mm-hmm.
Because Monday, believe it or not, Monday was actually chill, to say the least. Monday was very chill, to say the least. Today, could have threw today in the trash. Would have been fine. Could have threw today in the trash. I would have been fine. Would have been fine. Oh, excuse me. But Al, how you been doing? Chad, how's everybody doing in chat too as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I shared a little bit about what's been going on with me lately. It's been really good. Some really great news on the family front. Don't want to, share it just yet, but
Mm-hmm.
it's been really great. Like, yeah, it's been super awesome. Um, been doing like some traveling a little bit. I think I mentioned this in the last stream. I feel like I should have. I don't know. But went to Tampa. But
Mm-hmm.
this weekend that just passed, like I helped my boyfriend out with his room, like rearranging it, the furniture and everything, trying to give him more space in a
Mm-hmm.
very, I want to say like it's a small space, but like he's just like gathered and accumulated a lot of things throughout the years of just moving and stuff like that. So he's been at his current place for like a good while.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, all right, you can settle. Like it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's been kind of fun. Um,
Nice.
like I've been like thinking about ways. I watch like a lot of YouTube videos about like organization and like room arrangements and things like that, and I get kind of inspired. So I was kind of like suggesting things, and the things I was suggesting though, you'd have to like purchase new furniture, and that's
Mm-hmm.
obviously costly because everything's expensive and more than likely gonna get worse. But he um he did purchase like a new bed frame,
Mm-hmm.
which is really awesome. It has like a lifting mechanism where you could store like everything underneath. Whereas like there's other storage things that are just drawers, but then there's like a lot of other space that's not being used.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so he has like a lot of space. I like I was saying how it's interesting how furniture can really just like amplify your life, like
Yeah.
and just like really you start to realize that you know I want to say like you don't have a lot of things. It's just now the things are stored better, and you can actually fit more things, or fit things that were like
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a use there somewhere else, or better use here
Mm-hmm.
than there. And so it's really cool. So I always assumed he had a lot more stuff than he actually did. So like it was kind of nice. And also we got rid of a lot of things too,
Mm-hmm.
which also helps because things just kind of accumulate and you forget about it. Like I have stuff from like when I had like first moved in, almost 10
Mm-hmm.
years ago that I gotta get rid of or sort through or just throw out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you, Chad. I knew a couple of people who did that, myself included. I did buy just like stuff, like just being worried about the tariffs. Like I don't know if and when it's going to, you know, take place. Like I'm I'm glad Ron's here because I'll be honest, I am not too versed in everything that's been going on.
Mhm.
Um, I do know what a tariff is. That is apparently a lot more than a lot of the country. So,
Yeah.
so I'm here to learn, and yeah, but yeah, I did buy um like some things. Like I bought new kitchen cooking utensils
Hmm.
because I was using like these plastic ones for a long time. You're doing better than the president himself.
No,
Like I was,
Jay, you are so correct.
yeah,
So correct.
yeah, it's weird. But yeah, I so because I've been using like these plastic ones for like years, and they've been kind of getting like kind of gross, and so I finally bought some like really nice like Viking stainless steel ones. So the brand Viking, I don't think Vikings made them or used them, but
Mm.
the brand Viking, which is I don't know, I just really loved it. I was just like, you know what, sure, I'm in some weird like retail therapy kind of mood where I just felt like I needed to just buy a bunch of stuff. And but that seeing the credit card bill humbled my ass real quick. I was like, I don't need to buy anything anymore. I am done. No new things.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, circling back because I know I recently bought some stuff, and I'm actually glad that I did. And with the new stuff that I bought, I'm like, I'm really not. I'm really trying not to buy nothing else because, like, how everybody else is thinking, like, I don't know how these tariffs are going to play out,
Mm,
but it is quite alarming when you have some of America's trading partners retaliate and pass their own tariffs, which we'll dive into later.
mm,
Because I was reading an article on, I think it was Yahoo. I was reading this article on Yahoo, and I kind of laughed, but then again, also was like, "Oof, that's going to suck."
mm,
And a lot of it, believe it or not, it does hit home. Like it hits very much close to home. So, and again, like I said, we'll dive into that. We will dive into that a lot more because this man really did just do a whole entire dumpster fire, and we're probably going to be the ones paying for it. Believe it or
mm. Yeah, as always.
not.
Yeah.
So, um,
Mm.
yeah, I almost said like what I'm thinking. You probably already shared what Chad said, L,
Yeah, about the
about
yeah
the
washer and
washer and
dryer.
dryer.
That freaking sucks. I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
about when I redo my kitchen, which I've been wanting to do for a few years now. Um, it's like I wanted to replace like the appliances too. It's not like the appliances are bad. It's
Mhm.
like, but like I wouldn't mind keeping them. I actually do like them, except my range that can go, but everything else is fine. And like I
Got
do
it.
want to replace the washer and the dryer because they're old. Like they
Mhm.
work well, but just want to get like a little like an upgrade. But
Mhm.
maybe I gotta hold on to stuff.
Ooh, yes, yes, yes. But you know, Elle, you want to jump into this thing real quick?
Uh, sure. You wanna take the lead?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
Yes.
going based off of what Chad has said, the
Mm.
Canadian oil
Let
is
me.
a huge percentage. Like going based off of this, the not only did um, Justin Trudeau, not only did he go ahead and say that he was going to put um, tariffs on U.S. imports coming into Canada,
Mhm.
but also within that same breath, who was it? I think it was I think it was the prime minister that kind of oversees a lot of the energy that goes to Michigan, Wisconsin, and New York. He said that he said that with Michigan, Wisconsin, and New York, like they're really going to limit the supply of energy that comes in to those three states alone. And a lot of people in Michigan, they're like, "Oh crap! Like, no wonder my energy bill has gone up, or it's continuing going up. No wonder things aren't looking the way how they are." And they're actually hitting closer to home than what most people are thinking. And so that's just one aspect. That's really
Mhm.
one aspect, and that's already taking effect as of right now. That's already in play as of right now. So, depending upon what energy company you guys use in Michigan, you might want to start looking at your electric bill, water bill. Start looking at those. Gas bill, if you got gas, even though yes, typically gas is cheaper than electric, but you might want to start looking at your gas bill too as well, because that could very well go up, especially what Chad was referring to, which again, a lot of our energy input into certain parts of Michigan, it comes from Canada. It comes from Canada. And if that line goes kaput, yeah, there's gonna be some folks hurting in Michigan bad. There's gonna be some folks hurting in Michigan very bad. Um, and another thing too, like for anybody that does like a lot of online shopping, I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but don't be surprised if you start seeing your overseas items be delayed a little bit longer. And I know this
Mhm.
happened. This has happened to me recently, especially with this hoodie that I got. Of course, I got it off of Temu, but it fit nice. It was on sale. Like, why not? Um,
Mhm.
I got it the week after it was supposed to arrive to my mailbox, along with a bunch of other stuff that I bought that arrived a week later than anticipated because of the delays and everything else that's happening. Like, yeah, it's making a huge impact as it is already. And even some of the stuff that I do try to buy locally, like it's gone up in price. Like I do know eggs for a big concern. I don't know what anybody else is paying for eggs, but I know here in certain parts of Michigan, you're looking at almost $6 for about a dozen,
Yeah.
maybe a dozen and a half. You're looking at $6, $7. I know I went to Sam's Club and we bought the big carton of eggs, and I think when we walked out, I think we paid just around about like 15, $16, which again, it's not bad. My family, we eat a lot of eggs as it is anyways. And then plus we know a lot of people who grow chickens, and you know, $3 for a carton of eggs. Like, why not? You know, not knowing that the price of eggs were going to go up like bad. I mean, even all these eggs here in Michigan, they're like $5, $6 for a dozen. And typically, Aldi, their eggs are usually the cheapest eggs in town. Usually the cheapest eggs in town, but they
Yeah, for
cost as
sure.
much as if I'm going to Meijer, if I'm going to Walmart, if I'm going to Hardy. So it's already hitting home. Like I said, you guys, it's already hitting home, especially here in Michigan. It's already hitting home. And with our president in his mouth and whatnot, we're going to see a lot more stuff go up even more. Or we're going to see very limited supplies of stuff coming in even more. So just you guys just do your due diligence. If you have to stock up, and really just do your best to write this thing out, because it's not going to be pretty, especially once the summer starts rolling in. It's not going to be pretty. It's not.
So for the summer, like why will it, is that when it's like gonna probably hit its peak, or when it starts gonna, you're gonna start really feeling it? Like what exactly happens in the summer? Because I live in South Florida, so it's like summer all year round.
Yeah. So we'll look at it like this. Because down in your area, like you said, it's summer all year round. So you guys probably won't feel the brunt of it. But if you just let's just say you go to the store, and like a lot of the vegetables that you normally get, it going this is going back to what this is going on Chad's what he just brought up. Like if you get like some vegetables that
Mm,
normally don't grow in Florida, or you get some fruits that normally don't grow in Florida and they get imported in, don't be surprised if those same fruits and vegetables you bought about a month ago, especially when they're just kind of getting into season, those same ones you get in towards the spring, summertime, they go up $2, $3, $4. So if like you get some tomatoes and they're normally like, about $1 for a tomato, it could be a couple dollars
mm,
for a tomato. Or if you get like some type of fruit that's not normally native to Florida and they have to get it imported in, it's going to go up. It's going to go up. And especially like if people who like avocados, which Mexico is the biggest importer or exporter, I should say, the biggest exporter to America for avocados, they're going to go up
mhm.
big time. A lot of tomatoes that are grown in Mexico that get brought up, they're going to go up. So a lot of the little pieces that you see here and there that you don't necessarily think about that'll go up, oh, they're going to start going up. And especially by the summertime, because again,
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to be outside grilling, barbecuing, just being outdoors in
Yeah.
general. It's going to hit. It's going to hit. It's going to hit. Not to mention, hold on, I forgot this too. Not to mention the the bird flu that hit a lot of the chicken farms in America,
Hmm.
you were still dealing with the after effects of that, and that industry hasn't even fully recovered on its own right. Not
Right.
to mention, not to mention a lot of the local farmers here in the United States who typically rely on migrant workers to work the fields. They're not necessarily going to be there. Uh huh. Yep. What Chad said too. A lot of that. A lot of that. So again, it's a lot of the smaller things that again we don't necessarily think about. But now that when we put it on the radar, we're like, oh wait, what about this? Or oh snaps, what about that? Oh wow. That yeah, a lot of that. A lot of that.
Hmm.
So
True, yeah. Because like when it comes to especially restaurants
mm-hmm,
where they use, famously avocado toast or just like tomatoes on burgers and things like that, it's easily forgotten. So like when you go into a restaurant that you normally go to, let's say Chipotle,
mm-hmm,
and you notice that the prices have gone up a bit, you're like, well, what the heck is going on? Like I remember when a burrito bowl was like 6.50. Now it's like close to 10, if
yep.
not, or like about 10, and asking for tip. Not saying like, the workers don't deserve it. They I think they get paid minimum wage, I don't know, but they should. And as DJ Khaled said, and another one.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, it's true. Like the little things that you don't really think about or take for granted, it's um it's true. I Because I forgot that we get a lot of our avocados from Mexico. I've told you about my avocado
Mm-hmm,
tree. Well, technically, the avocado tree in front of my home that the
mm-hmm.
avocados fall on my roof. So it's pretty much my avocado tree that I don't own. Hey, girl.
Ew.
It's so I get free avocados when it bears fruit,
Mm-hmm.
and B when it bears fruit because it doesn't bear fruit all year round or anything. I guess I could technically freeze them to make them last longer. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, because I love avocados, so like that's gonna be rough.
Mm-hmm.
Tomatoes for sure. I know that Florida has a lot of farms. We do grow a lot of things. I do also know that a lot of the people working the farms were immigrant workers. All the EU starting to turn away from expect allies to ban us and even their prices to be less favorable as the US dollars moved away. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, ooh, part two.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really true. Yeah, these are the things that, like we don't think about. Speaking of um immigrant workers and things like that, I don't know if I'm just being skeptical or not, but I've lived in my place for like close to 10 years now, and we
Mhm,
have, it's a condo associations, so like the HOA fees pay for the gardeners and things like that. And they like to park their truck and everything right in front of my home because there's like space in front of it because there's like a pool there. So there's like space. And I see them, I don't know, like once, twice, maybe 3 times a week. I can't remember, but at least once a week
mhm.
for years. Today was the first time I came home from work and they were still there. Yeah, they were finishing up. Mind you, I got home at around 6:30 p.m., which is still pretty late for me because I had to go somewhere else after work. And then I got home 6:30, and they were still there, finishing up, but still there. And I've noticed that there seems to be less of them.
Mm,
I could be skeptical. This is just my lived experience. I've never come home and they were still there. It was,
that's wild.
yeah. So I think there seems to be less of them.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's, yeah, like that's abnormal. That's abnormal. I don't know if it's because it rained today, but I don't know. I'll keep an eye out, you know. But I have been noticing for like a little bit that there does seem to be less of them, especially after like Trump got into office. So yeah, with less people, then you know jobs take longer to do.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe a lot of them were just off that day. Maybe maybe something's going around and they're getting sick. I don't know. But
Ooh.
I
Hmm.
keep, yeah, that could also be something. So I'll keep an eye out, see what's going on. But I've never come home and they were still there.
Right. Right. And I want to do just a slight little pivot, if you guys will be okay. So you guys remember
Yeah.
I was talking about Canada. Canada would put a tariff on the United States as far as their imports go, and the states that's going to be affected by the energy. It wasn't Wisconsin. My bad. It was Minnesota. So Michigan, New York, and Minnesota. Those are the three states that normally rely energy from Canada. They're going to get hit with a 25% surcharge fee. So, oh, hold on. There's another thing too. Not on maple syrup, just on like the energy. So, like certain parts of Michigan, they actually get their energy from Canada. They actually do, and so they're going to see a 25% surcharge fee on their billing statement. Yeah, yeah. Then um, on top of that, Justin Trudeau, he also did a 25% tariffs on any incoming exports from America. And he also did like anything that was made. Who, Trump? Of course not. Of course not. Of course
Yeah, he
not.
just kind
But
of
then
says
again,
things to get
Justin.
people, you know, he kind of says things to get people riled up. The line from, uh, I guess, and words in Paris, even though I could say the word. But anyway, with Kanye and Jay-Z,
Mhm.
um, where Kanye says, and they go in gorillas, and then it cuts to that, um, to those like two guys talking, saying like, it's like, what does that mean? He knows what it means, but it's provocative. It gets the people going.
Mhm.
That's essentially Trump.
Mhm.
Nobody knew what terrorists meant, but it was provocative and it got the people going.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what's happening.
Yep. Yep. It's so again, Justin, he's like, you know what? He's going to put a 25% tariff on a lot of the U.S. imports. And then this Justin's so smooth. I like the way I like the way how Justin's thinking. In retaliation, he also said that not only that, but the Ontario Prime Minister um, Doug Ford, he's in agreement with it, and so Justin, he's also going to remove a lot of the American made alcohol that's coming out of distributions. And then he
Hmm.
also canceled the contract he had with Starlink
Hmm.
for Ontario. That's gone. And
And I think
so,
Tesla too.
uh huh. It's so like, it's these little, it's the little small things that again people don't understand what's happening that's actually happening. I mean, even the Mexican president, she was like, listen, if this is what we're going to, if this is the game that Trump wants to play, okay, just understand that we're going to give you this little grace period and hopefully you come to your senses, but if not, we're going to do the same thing that our northern counterparts they're doing too. We're gonna do the same thing. So it's like you really did not think this thing through, and
Hmm.
we've already warned you that if you are going to continue down this lunacy of a path that you want to call, all right, we're going to call your bluff, but not only we're going to call your bluff, we're going to raise it, and we're going to see how you're going to deal with things that way. So yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a very fun roller coaster ride for the next few months. We'll see how everything plays out, but for the next few months, yeah, it's going to be a really, really awesome roller coaster ride.
My mom would always say, apparently it's like a Jamaican saying, if you can't hear it, you must feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually to, threatening like a spanking, a beating. But I mean, it's true sometimes. Like if you keep telling somebody something over and over again, and they're just like not listening, and they're just gonna do all this stuff, then it's like, well, now you're gonna have to feel it. That's
Mm-hmm.
the only way. So like, it's very sad, tragic, and unfortunate for all of us, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
folks,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and especially like Trump supporters. I was listening to a podcast the other day. Um, it was like two financial white women, um, you know, like well off. They've earned their money. It's not like they were born into it like by any means. Um, and they were saying how they were kind of they don't really like it when people say, oh, like that, there's like people on the left or people who supported Harris or just anyone but Trump that that the Trump supporters are going to start feeling the brunt of everything. And there's people who are kind of happy about that, and like they were saying that that's kind of wrong, and I'm like, yeah, but like I, I don't know. It's like. they got to live through it. It's just unfortunate that we
Hmm.
have to live through it as well. Like that's
Hmm.
what it's like. I
Hmm.
wish I could just like opt out of this timeline and be like, yeah, this is just how it's gonna play out, and just like watch.
Hmm.
And but I don't know. It's like I'm tired of being patient, nice, and understanding. It's like what like I don't know.
Hmm. 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 You know, we had a conversation at my job, and mind you, we don't necessarily talk about politics, but it's funny how we end up talking about politics. And I came to the agreement, like, it's unfortunate. Like, they've been warned what was going to happen if he got back into the seat. They were told what he was going to do when he got into the seat. And because of the fact they felt as though they would not be touched by a lot of the things that was said and done before he got to the seat, now that he's in the seat, and how a lot of things they thought, oh, it's not going to affect me, it's not going to affect me, it's affecting them. Now it's just like, hey, you made your bed, you got to sleep in it. It's unfortunate that I had to sleep in the next room over, and I gotta watch you like not climb in the bed that you made. Like, nah, that's your bed. Like, I already got my own bed. I'm making
Right.
that
It's
one. It's just it's
like get
painful.
off. Like this is my bed. Get
Yeah,
like
like
your bed's over there. You that's what you made.
yeah, like no, that one's yours. That one got your name on it. You can't say it don't got your name on it. Like, nah, it's etched in there. It's etched in there. That's yours. You got to sleep in that one. I can't help you with
Mm,
that one. That's your bed. And it's I find it very hilarious to me. I do. I find it very comedic in a very sick and twisted way.
oh yeah,
And
for sure. Yeah.
it is like, what was it? What, earlier this year when folks was saying, yeah, Obamacare is getting cut off and yada yada yada. We're like, but you do realize it's also the Affordable Care Act. And they're like, no, 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 it's not. It's Obamacare. Like, yes, 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 yes. Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act is Obamacare. It's just that the president who y'all elected was very, um, I'm trying to find a very nice word to say this, but I'm just gonna say it anyways. Was hating at the fact that somebody did something better than what he could do, and has still yet to offer something in exchange that he can't do. And so rather than, you know, just leave it the way how it is, decides to gut it, and how a lot of that base that supported him is on Obamacare, aka the Affordable Care Act. Now they're like, how am I supposed to get my drugs? That's going through the roof because big pharma's going to do whatever big pharma does. Oh, and mind you, I forgot about this too. So
Hmm.
all the little pleasures of getting prescription drugs and all the other good stuff from overseas at a fraction of the price, yeah, that's gone. That's out the window. So now it's like you really have to think about what's more important to you: your life-saving drugs or everything else. And you literally gonna have to sit there and actually weigh those options because it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. But hey, we tried telling y'all just didn't want to listen. So now, as my lovely friend Elle put it, now you gotta feel it.
Yeah. You didn't hear it, now
And,
you gotta feel it. It's like I, yeah, I don't know.
but then again, in the words of my newfound podcaster that I like watching from time to time, Mr. Cam Jones. He said it best like this. Um, I gave y'all the information, paraphrasing. I gave y'all the information. It's up to y'all to figure out what y'all want to do about it. You can't say I didn't tell you. And oh, how that saying has aged beautifully now.
Yeah.
It has aged beautifully. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. But
Like when they
go
say
ahead.
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. But then again, I want to do a slight little pivot too, because just to kind of make everything make sense to everybody, how a lot of this really does tie in. So we all know how, of course, Ukraine has been fighting for basically their independence, to say if you would, for the last past 3 4 years. Okay. And how all Ukraine wants is for Russia to leave it alone. That's it,
Yeah.
right? You stand up to a bully, you're like, hey, leave me alone. Like, we ain't did nothing to y'all. Leave us alone. So
Mm.
you're doing what's right, right? And the person who you thought was your friend actually turns out to be a frenemy and says, like, no, you caused the fight. You caused the bully to pick on you in the first place. Had you just simply gave in to the demands and the wishes that the bully wanted, we wouldn't be in this predicament. Like, in what world does that make sense? For all of y'all who need to get caught up on the world, or for those who understand what I'm saying, basically, all in all, during the Security Council meeting at the UN, Zelensky said, "Hey, listen, we've been going on too long. We just want Russia to leave us alone. That's it. We want Russia to leave us alone. We want Russia to remove its troops. We want Russia to be able to say, yeah, we threw the first punch. Really didn't realize that after us throwing the first punch, that we was going to get pummeled the way how we've been getting pummeled. Like, we didn't take that into account. We didn't think that, the person who we were bullying was willing to fight back and actually go toe to toe with us. Okay. And Trump and his weird, dumb thinking, I'm going to call him the way how it is, and all of his little minions behind him, like, no, Zelensky, it was actually your fault. You're the one who did this. And Zelensky's like, no, me and my countrymen, we have been defending our sole right to be an independent country, to be an independent nation. And for you guys to flip flop on us, that's crazy. And to say that, you know, we started this conflict when we didn't do anything but just simply exist. Like, make that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so what Zelensky said was like, listen, we just want America to chime in and be like, yeah, Russia, what you did was wrong. You started this whole mess. You need to apologize, get your troops out, and be done with it. What did Trump do? Nah, it's not Russia's fault. It's your fault. For what? We got to think about why. Because again, mind you, folks, America don't really have a whole lot to go on when it comes to natural resources.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. so, so Um, what was I going to say? So of course, um, Ukraine, they have what is the resource that they have underneath their ground?
In Ukraine?
Yeah, it, it's
Uh,
it's it's a metal. It's an earth metal that's pretty much predominantly found in the Ukrainian um, region. Minerals.
mineral?
Um, I want to say it starts with an I, but I could be wrong. I could very well be wrong. But Doofenshmirtz, aka Trump, said, "Hey, if you give us access to the mines, to a bunch of metals, yeah, if you give us access to the mines of the natural rich minerals, metals that you guys have, yeah, we'll help you out exchange." And that didn't go so well. Okay. So all of that. So in other words, like because of the fact that again, Trump and the current administration did a total about face and really told our allies to piss off, kick rocks. Now we're pretty much going to be in a situation where we're going to be by ourselves. And as much as um, Trump has said, America first. Nah, I don't think so. This is going to be America but last if you keep up with this rhetoric, because you're not necessarily helping the majority of Americans. You're not. Call it spade a spade. You're not. You're not. If anything, you're hurting the majority of Americans. And
Mhm.
the proof is going to be in the pudding. It's going to show for itself. You know, and it's sickening. It's very sickening.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
very sickening. So, with all of that being said, of course, we know what was it today or yesterday? Zelensky, he came to the White House, to chat with Trump, to hopefully talk some sense into Trump, and Zelensky caught this man lacking in 4K, and I love it. I love it. Caught this man in 4K, and so because of the fact that this man, again, he keeps talking out the side of his neck, and one day somebody is going. I ain't gonna go there, but somebody's gonna pull his coattail someday, one day. But all in all, he made fun of the way how the people of Ukraine weren't necessarily wearing suits, and the people in Ukraine responded by pretty much wearing suits
Mhm.
and showing in solidarity, like, nah, you're not gonna just talk to our guy like he hasn't done anything when he's been doing a lot, and he's been helping us to stay together, to stay unified when we have loved ones going to the battlefield who we may not even see again, who risk their lives every day to protect our freedoms. That's my dog, she barking. And so for him to have the love of the people, it's really telling, it's really showing. On top of the fact, this man also said, like, listen, if we really want peace, okay, cool, great. I will step down as president. This is Zelensky talking. He said, I will step down. He said, however, if I do step down, and if you want to have these elections as you want them to, okay, cool, great, fine, we could do it. But also understand that I am very popular with my citizens. I am. I'm very popular. I have a lot of support with the people who are behind me. And so, even if you were to have someone to run against me, which is very unlikely because they see everything that we see. They hear everything that we hear. The amount of misinformation, Mr. Trump, that you're getting fed from Russia, it's alarming. It's alarming and it's telling. And basically, it's like you really don't know nothing. You really haven't done your due diligence on nothing. It shows. It shows. And so now we're pretty much the laughing stock, the laughing joke of the world. And again, like I said before, try to warn folks, but they don't want to listen. All right, cool, whatever. Just understand that, again, as my friend said here, you just gonna have to feel it. We tried telling y'all just gonna have to feel it. Just gonna have to really feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was thinking how 92% of Black women voted for Harris in the
Mm-hmm.
2024 election, and how pretty undivided that is compared to other demographics. Granted, like yeah, I think it was like 77 to 80% of Black men voted for Harris as well, which is also very like if this was a college course, like Black people would be passing,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of unified
Yep.
voting.
Yep.
Um, and that's the only demographic that can say that, which is pretty cool. It's very powerful if you
Yes.
think about it. Because I could go to literally any state in the country, talk to a Black woman, and she'll probably have similar views as I do, or
Mm-hmm.
at least also voted for Harris. Um, you can't really say that for any other demographic, but I wanted to say I'm trying to remember like where I was like going with this, like like I'll be honest, I don't have like that many Black women friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll be honest. Not for the lack of try. It's just people around me. Like I have a lot of like Black male friends, Black
Mm-hmm.
guy friends, things of that nature. But for Black women, you know, it's not a small amount, but it's not, a big amount either.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just sort of interesting to think that it's not like every Black woman is in a handful of WhatsApp group chats or,
Mm-hmm.
like Instagram chat, like we're not in contact with all of us simultaneously. I don't know what's going on in all of their heads yet. We all voted the same,
Mm-hmm.
or damn near all of us voted the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's pretty remarkable if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I've always found that to just be like insanely interesting that we all tend to do this. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm sure I haven't really quite looked into it, but I'm sure if we broke it down in terms of like age range and like level of education
Mm-hmm.
and like what's it called, like salaries and like how much money we take home, where we live, it's probably going to you know vary and change, but I don't think it'll be I don't think it'll be like that much, compared to like let's say like old white women versus young white women. I'm sure that'll be like a more stark difference versus like black women, no matter what, it's all pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I just find that to be like incredibly fascinating because there's always the whole, oh, when you get older, you become more conservative. If you make a certain amount of money, you become more conservative. If you own your own business, because of the whole taxes thing, you're going to become more conservative. And that is just like that isn't just that it clearly isn't the case. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean not Gil. I was reading Gil. Yeah, I definitely do need to go to Coasties. I've been wanting to for a while. It's just like timing and everything, but definitely like one of these days, like I'll definitely go down there.
Yeah,
Once I have trouble
that's totally
black.
cool. Yeah, especially what Chad is saying too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I do know that even here in my little red city and whatnot, um, surprisingly, a lot of white women voted for Harris, and a lot of them were in like the education sector that actually voted for Harris because of like, you know, a lot of things what she said makes sense. And
Mm,
when everybody came back and after the election, like, it's kind of telling how and where this country is going to go. Because for any woman to vote against herself is dumb, very
mm,
misinformed, very uneducated, and it shows. It shows. Like, yeah, I agree. And so now we're pretty much at the point where a lot of the um where a lot of people are starting to see why things the way are going the way how they are, and why in some crazy odd alternate universe it would make sense. But it's like, but there's so much at stake. Why would you jeopardize that? Why would you put folks in harm's way on purpose?
mm. Right,
So
exactly.
mhm. It's uh it's it's heartbreaking, really. But then again, like I said, in my sick, twisted mind and everything else, I'm like, yeah, not really, not really, not really. You got what you paid for, honestly. Hold on, let me call my dog.
Okay. um,
Deku, there you go. All right, I'll be back. Gonna close my doors.
okay. Uh, I do want to introduce the next person. That sounds something like Deku.
Yes, yes, Deku. Yes, that's the name of my dog. Well, one of them. Yes.
Okay, nice. So I was thinking like the Deku tree or Deku from My Hero Academia.
Yeah, my hero.
Yeah, nice. But um, coming to
Ooh,
the
yeah,
stage,
yeah.
I'll be surprised if there's a guys about a small number of deaths. Yeah, no, I definitely feel that.
Mm.
I definitely feel that. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
one. Whew.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a really deep conversation in its own right.
Yeah.
A very deep conversation in its own right.
Yeah. It's gonna. Yeah. No, it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really, really fucking tough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is about My Hero Academia. This isn't about Chad's comment. But I do want to bring the next person to the stage. Um, even though Ron called out to a dog, this man isn't a dog, depending on who you're talking to. Kidding. This guy will, eat everything in your fridge plus the fridge itself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to go and buy a new fridge, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously we can't afford that with the tariffs going up. So, yeah, you gotta. I mean, I would suggest getting an unedible fridge, but they already are. Yeah. So, with that said, we got to bring him on so he doesn't eat your fridge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So please welcome the one and only Toby.
Toby, woo, 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 woo.
Ah, yes, got that dog in him and me. God, I didn't even know that was a phrase until like a few years ago, and I was like, "Is this really a thing?" But I'll own it. Good to see everyone. What in the world is this? An update. Okay, it's fine. We out here. While I was trying to run some errands for some travel that I maybe am doing tomorrow, still in the works, to go to Chicago. I was also listening to the State of the Union / watching it. So some interesting things going on there. I just can't help it. I can't help the mess sometimes, tuning into the mess. I know some people were like, I'm not carrying that, I'm not carrying it. Or there are people who wanted to do like a response to the State of the Union, and that was going to be more of a rallying cry. But sometimes I'm just like, just tuning into the mess sometimes has its entertainment. I won't say value, but it has its entertainment. It has its entertainment.
Mhm.
In a hot mess type of way. So yeah, we out here. Hope you all are all doing well in the channel, in the chat, and the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Trying to listen
we're
to what I could. It was cutting out a little bit when I went on the road, but I was tuning in, especially I think before Ron came on, and then sometime after. So kind of like the early part, and then obviously here when I was backstage. Did I just freeze? Oh, that's weird.
no.
I just saw myself flag. Okay.
Mm.
No, like I can't imagine what it's like in DC.
I mean, generally speaking, I mean, I work for a government contractor, so we thank God for that because um uh the people who are direct government workers are not having they're not having a good time. I mean, there are some people who seem to like because they're more essential, they just kind of rolled with the changes and started going in. But I mean, so I don't know what's really going on because I have a new contract coming up. It ended on the 15th. We have like a 6-week extension period, that we're currently in the middle of. It's been really slow and non-active. And out of nowhere today, yesterday a little bit, but today especially, there were some updates in terms of getting on the new contract, and they need some like quick responses for the follow-on contract that starts April. Well, don't know if it's really going to start April 1st at this rate. So I will still be employed at this company on this contract for like a 1-year follow-on. But the issue I think is that I don't know. Are they going to make people start to come in? Because I mean, we don't work directly on government site, really. I mean, maybe depending on what role you have, but I've always worked remote. Not just because we can work remote, but because we're not federal employees working at a federal building. Our company is based technically in Northern Virginia, Arlington we're based in McLean, but Arlington is my home site, which I've been to like a handful of times, probably maybe not less than 10, but I've definitely been there close to 10 times in the past year. And I just hit my 1-year mark at this company mid-February. So a lot of anniversaries that just happened in the past few weeks. Thank you. What's that tutu? Oh, that's a celebration. Hilarious. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, the only thing that changed for us was like, oh yeah, DEI has to get gone. Like anything corporate related that could signal DEI or gender bathrooms, just like stupid stuff. But it's like, okay, got to get rid of all that language. But it doesn't really affect my direct work. But I with this new contract coming up, maybe because they did say that they're going to want more insight on site, but they said they don't care what site. So I'm like, wait, as in just like coming to our own offices? Because that's not in DC. That's not even a federal office. That's just our company offices. We have multiple of them. I mean, there is a site near me in Bethesda, Maryland, like 20 minutes away. I mean, the headquarters is also like 25 minutes, but I don't know if they have classified sites. If we come in, it's because they want us to do classified work, which means I would have to come to Arlington. I really do not want to drive all the way to Arlington. 35 minutes, no traffic, easily close to an hour with traffic. And so I know people do all commutes all the time, but I think I've gotten so lucky just not having had to commute regularly for a while that I'm like, I've had to come in every day. And plus getting into a classified site takes more time and preparation. I'm just like, no. But if I can come to the Maryland site, if they have classified spaces that we're authorized to use, that would be much easier, much closer. So I'm still figuring some stuff out, but it's not really exactly the government changes that are driving this. It's more just like a lot of other stuff. There's honestly a lot of other stuff that I feel like is driving, just like the contract happened to be ending February 15th. So a lot of important dates. February 12th was when I had my year anniversary when I joined the firm. February 15th was when my contract was ending. And then like 2 weeks later, well, not really related, but March 2nd was a nice special day. So I just had like a lot of like big things kind of coming up. And if anything, I was prepared to like look at other jobs in the company and not leave my company, but to look for other roles. There was one that was actually for the VA. They were doing some like, I don't know, some IT related stuff. And it was like, they don't need a clearance besides a public trust, and you can work remotely. But I haven't seriously pursued that. So I'm just like, I don't know what the future is going to bring. If I leave this company, which I don't want to leave the company, I just started here a year ago. They're big. There's so much you could do in the company. But if I was going to leave, I don't know where I would really go.
Right.
The federal space is what I'm kind of the most comfortable with currently. But like that, it doesn't maybe look to be the most secure. So, I mean, not that you can't get hired at other government contractors, but I feel like they're all just dealing with so much change that I don't know if it's the best idea to like apply around. Or I could go to private industry completely. But also, a lot of federal workers are probably going to start applying for private jobs because they're getting mass laid off. So I'm not sure what that would look like. Now, federal workers are very broad, and I mean, I don't know how many tech-specific workers are getting laid off. So I might not be seeing that much competition, but still. It's kind of better. Like my job leader, aka my boss, who is not really much more in the know than we are. Like she's like, I don't know what changes are happening, but when she knows, she'll tell us. She was saying, so I told her how this new contract opportunity just came up today, like to basically get the new awarded contract, which was very much in question mark if any of us were going to continue on. But there was like a meeting invite sent out to some of us saying, hey, we actually want you guys to continue on the new contract, which is like good, but it's also like a little concerning that my boss wasn't on the call. I had no idea about it. And one of the more senior guys on our team, who high key has helped carry me sometimes when I've needed help on stuff, he wasn't on the call. So I'm like, wait, one of the people who I've come to rely on might not be there. And then there was another guy who I'm cool with who on our team was on that call, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to just like come onto this new team and feel like I don't have my old team, and I'm expected to like deliver XYZ stuff without the people who I'm grown accustomed to working with for the past year.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a lot of different stuff going on. But I mean, it's good. At least I guess I have this opportunity in this new contract. But it's always like good to this. But the reason I mentioned it was like my boss, she was like, if you have this opportunity, like I would suggest getting on something that has somewhat sound footing. At least, the fact that this is a 1-year contract, they're going to want us versus trying to like shop around on the bench, as we call it, when you're basically just waiting for work and you're like, not just waiting, but you're actively applying for work while you're getting paid by the company, but you can't be on the bench for like forever. I think 6 months is like the most generous amount of time I would say you could probably be. And that, even that, like, not guaranteed. Some people might only last a few weeks. Some people could last multiple months before eventually getting a lack of work letter telling them, hey, you don't have any work at the company. Time to go. My last job, that's how I was let go because I was on the bench kind of for a year. But we were in a very weird situation where we kind of had too many staff, historically speaking. And so we didn't have enough work to staff all of the people at the company. And I did have some different projects here and there, but I was on the bench effectively for like a year with some work at some different intervals of time. But most of them were not full-time positions. They were like, here's 60 hours to do like a gig type of assignment. And I'm mostly still charging admin hours while like looking for other work. So that was not a very fun time. That was October 2022 to November 1st, 2023. In which point I was unemployed for about 2.5 months, which I mean, I'm grateful. That was like a lot shorter than a lot of other people deal with. I was technically unemployed for a month and a half because I got my job offer MLK weekend. So it was around the 17th of January last year. So I really only had a month and a half of uncertainty. And then I started like a month later, February 12th, like 3 weeks later, close to 4 weeks. Anyway, all that to say, I appreciate you checking in, Chad, and anyone else. It sounds crazy with everything going on, but like, I don't know. I feel relatively optimistic, at least in terms of opportunities. I just feel less great that I could branch out even more because there's hiring freeze internally for the federal government. And then I feel like other contractors will also scale back to some degree. Some won't. I mean, some might have actually more work to do because of some of the tech focus, but I don't know. Excuse me. It just depends.
Right. Which I know I got a good friend. She lives in that DC area. I know we talked. She sent me a message. I got to respond back to her. But I was asking her about like how her situation is because she's kind of in the thick of it with a lot of things that's related to the feds. And from what I gathered, she's good until further notice. And hopefully everything will continue to be good. But when you have Doge over here just going through and putting agencies on a chopping block for different various reasons, it's kind of like, okay. Like, for an example, I was reading, no, the missus, she has sent me a post on Facebook about how a lot of the offices here in Michigan, they got axed, and a lot of them were more so helping the Native American community that's here in Michigan with like health and services and some other things. Like those facilities are gone. The IRS building that's here in, I want to say, the northern part of the Lower Peninsula, or kind of up in the UP. That one got the axe. And then there was another facility down in Grand Rapids that got booted as well. So that's quite a bit of people out of a job as of right now. But even then, on top of that, there's also people who normally frequent these buildings that may not get the resources that they need. They may not get access to certain benefits. Like they're going to be SOL. It sucks. It really does suck. I'm just glad, Toby, that things in your area, especially for you, they're looking good. They're looking good.
Do you know anybody who's been cut from a federal job? Anyone?
Go ahead, Toby.
I do. I haven't checked on them specifically. So one person was working at, I forget the name of this org, but I think it's like the Urban League, like the Greater Urban League or something. And so they, I think, got funding from HUD, but apparently she had already quit. Like I just caught up with her this past weekend because she was like, "It's your birthday. You should come out to this African restaurant." I mean, we just got drinks. So it was pretty late, like 1:30 a.m. But she was telling me how she actually left her last job, so she wasn't even like, because she one time called me some weeks ago, like maybe a month ago. She called me and she was like, it was random, like I don't know, like a Wednesday at 2 p.m. or right before 2 p.m. I had a meeting too, like with like a one-on-one with my job leader, and so she called me. And I thought she was freaking out about like everything with the jobs, but she more said that people were hitting her up and they were freaking out and kind of freaking her out. But when we talked yesterday or a few days ago, it was like, oh yeah, no, she's been cool and she does a lot of grant writing stuff now. And so she wasn't a direct federal employee, but she definitely worked for a nonprofit that heavily relies on federal funds. And then I have a friend who works for FEMA, and she's worked there for some years. She's a college friend. And, she's also Black, young, about probably like 31. I think she's a year older than me. So I'm like, I don't know. I haven't reached out to her just to be like, because I'm not trying to be like, hey, there's a lot of craziness. How are you doing with it? When she kind of knows there's a lot of craziness. But at the same time, I do kind of want to ask her. But we're also going to go to a concert because Glorilla is coming to town on the 14th. And it's her birthday that week. So... apparently she got friends who got her tickets, so we were gonna pre-game. Maybe I'll casually be like, "So, how about them government jobs?" Before we go get ratchet at Glorilla. It's I don't know. It's tough. I'll just let people deal with it how they can without trying to put too much extra strain and stress on them. I know some other people, but they're not direct employees. Like most people I know work tangential, like GovTech, maybe for a contractor or doing something else. I don't know many direct federal employees, to be honest. I've met some more through like different social org and networks, but I don't know all those people personally. But yeah.
Like, I saw on Facebook a friend of a friend lost their job at the VA office. Like I don't know. He and I went to college at the same time. He was getting his master's while I was getting my bachelor's. Like I don't think I knew him, but on Facebook I saw that we had like a couple of friends in common, which was interesting. Wrote a long post, made it public, so people have been sharing it around. And it was how he was only working at the VA office for like 86 days. And he was really happy to be working there because think like his father and his grandfather or something like that were veterans. Like they, were in the military, and he's always had like a strong connection to the military, to the army. And so he was really happy and proud to be working at the VA office because, like I guess with his family, he had to deal with PTSD. I think like with his father, was what it was like being explained, and like of course there's just terrible, horrible stories of people killing themselves, like veterans killing themselves, veterans not getting the assistance that they need. We see it all the time. Um, if you see like a homeless person, they might be holding a sign that says, like homeless veteran needs help, and it happens all too often. And when you're applying for jobs, you see that, they ask if you're a veteran. There's veterans who work at my job. I don't think I've ever worked at a company where there weren't veterans that have worked there that were, also working there. And when, people were considering or thinking of like DEI and everything like that, that was never really considered, even though that is part of it in a way, in terms of like, I guess all three letters: diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because unfortunately, veterans don't get the assistance that they desperately need and desperately, deserve. So it was crazy being, because I don't really know any federal workers, so it was crazy to know somebody who knows somebody, to have like, it wasn't that far of a like degree of connection. So, and this is just only the beginning. Granted, I do know somebody whose spouse works at the VA office, and they've been receiving the emails of, pretty much like Doge people telling them to leave and, to quit. Yeah. It's like these very poorly spelled out words. Like like the emails are really poorly written, and it's just bad.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're like saying like, oh, you could get like the severance or something like that, but they don't really explain what it is or how much, and it's just like a bunch of like noise and nonsense. So there's like that happening. That's like threatening threat. So I don't know if anything's going to happen, because I don't think they can just legally fire, like lay off all of them. And I know that a lot of federal workers have been laid off. For example,
Mm-hmm.
with the, you know, even places that you don't think about, like forests and parks and and things that I like that you don't really think about too much. Unfortunately, it's, even though like I know that they're like city jobs, so like it would make sense that some of them would be like federal jobs as well. But I don't know. You don't really put two and two together. Like you just think of them as like these um ambiguous jobs that are
Mm-hmm.
in DC, and they're just so private and no one can talk about it. But we all simultaneously know that they are running probably like some really old software and are probably not the most updated in certain cases. So like I know that like the unemployment office, and I think some other federal offices too. The unemployment office in Florida and like other other offices too, like run COBOL, which is like a programming language from like the 50s, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. It's like that old, and they're still using that kind of like coding language to kind of run the country or run parts of the country. The legality argument is long past they're breaking the law, and yet they persist. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, they are. They are absolutely breaking the law. And that's like what's really annoying, because we have like the Democrats saying like, oh, well, they're breaking the, like, oh, that's illegal. It's like, okay, yeah, we've been past this. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're acting as if, I don't know, the hand of God himself is going to come down and stop things because it's illegal. It's like, no. You're starting to understand that a country is just just a system run by a bunch of people. And yeah, it wasn't running great, but like some weird third party, like, deity, or I forgot the term, but it's like a deus ex machina. Like, that's not going to like happen. There's not going to just be like some thing that's just going to make everything work, and they're just going to stop doing illegal crap. Like, it's just going, like, they're just gonna do it. I mean, I don't know why people feel like that's just not. I don't know why people think that because it's illegal, people aren't going to do it. Like, I guarantee you, we've all done something illegal. Like, either it's like smoked weed when it's illegal, or made an illegal U-turn, or sped, or or I don't know, stolen something, downloaded music. Like, we're not gonna be saved by plot. Exactly. We are not the main character. Allegedly, we've all done these things, of course. Tap sign. Yeah. If you're at the highest of the highest level and you're doing illegal stuff, no one's going to stop you, because no one can, unless it's like from another country, and then that's just a whole ass other problem. That's might also be illegal. But yeah, yeah, no, it's weird. But like, this is what happens when you got like business people running a country like a business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have this. I was talking to my boyfriend about this too. Like, when did the whole like running a country like a business, or trying to like measure the same metrics like a business, came to be? He thought it was probably like under Reagan. I don't know. He's better at history than I am. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm really good at just noticing patterns and history repeats itself. So, I assume that this whole like running a country like a business thing is, based like, oh, how much money is the country making, or like, oh, we're in debt. We're in like trillions of dollars in debt, and like these sorts of things. So like, we look to things that are like, what can we cut to make money? Like, how can we cut costs? And a lot of companies lay off people. So this is like what is essentially happening. It's something that the general population can understand. It's something that everyone in some capacity has been influenced by, whether you had a parent that was laid off, whether you yourself was laid off, whether a friend or a cousin was laid off, or whether like you stayed at the company, but you saw your friend get laid off. We've all been impacted in some kind of way, whether it was, working at McDonald's, seeing somebody get fired, or working at, like a corporate company, seeing people get fired, working in a bank, seeing people get fired, even union workers, they do get laid off. It's a little bit more difficult, but that does happen. So what's happening isn't really like strange to us, so to speak, even though we all figured and knew that like federal jobs or like city jobs or county jobs are like very safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, you get this job and you kind of stay there until you retire type of thing. Because, like a lot of them have pensions and like just really good retirement plans. So this is why it's like a little bit strange, but like not out of the norm or like too much. The issue is though is that like how we measure the metrics of a country and like the KPIs, so to speak, the key performance indicators of and like seeing like the where we started and where we're trying to go and progress. So when you have some business people talking about the country as a business, it's like you can't really compare a country to a business because that's not how you really measure that's not how you really measure a country. So we're using like a bunch of like stupid ass metrics because that's what we understand. So it's like you might see people use like, oh, marriage rate is falling. It's like that's not really, like a legit like metric to define, life could be, or like, like the status of a country. It's like birth rate is falling. It's like that is a way to determine like the status of a country if we can't really afford to have kids, or like the several reasons why people do not have kids. And, also mass shootings isn't really an appealing reason to have a child. Like, it's one of a long laundry list of reasons. Also being in a first world country and having a very low maternal mortality rate for a first world country. Like those are some metrics that we could easily and should be improving. But when you're trying to run it like very forcefully and not really see it as a people, as a populace, as a way for just the country to expand and grow the best way possible, then then we start to, I'm sorry, I'm trying to like go back and forth between like country and business, and it really just like doesn't make sense because of like what people are trying to increase. Like by people I mean like what the people in office are trying to increase. It's just like, yeah, increase more people to put more money into other people's into their pockets because you just want a working class. But oh yeah, now I'm back. So like, for example, if I had a business, I can't hire a child, for a lot of reasons, and nor would I want to. So to like consider a country as business, it's like, well, there's also a massive population that you cannot like, I don't know, like be a CEO to, so to speak, because they're just trying to go to school and make friends and try to join, try to get to the league. So so when we are trying to run a country like a business, like we are also not taking into consideration like a massive amount of metrics. They're like just massive amounts of like just situations and metrics and things like that. Because there's like several populations that we're not taking into consideration. We're just caring about the working class. It's like, well, there's also the poor, there's the ultra wealthy, there's the old, there's the elderly, there's the young, there is men, there's black men, there's different races of men. There's married men, there's unmarried men, there's women, there's non-married women, there's gays, there's Latinos, there's like different, like there's like millions of different types of demographics that we all have to, like assist, cater, and abide to make sure that everyone's doing well, so they can live a long, happy life and not go broke, so they can also continue giving back into the economy. But if you're trying to just have force women to have children to keep them poor and also fill up the prisons and to just partly keep you rich and also keep you ignorant and keep you uneducated, and you're just trying to have a massive population to control. But yeah, sorry, I've have like 17,000 different schools of thought, because this is just like it's sorry. I'm just like all
You're
over
good.
the place. I could talk because I think about this a lot. This is my Roman Empire. Like,
right. But then again,
we all want a better country. But yeah, go on.
I was gonna say, but then again, also at the same time, like you do make a very valid point, because I know me and the missus, we talked about this a lot, and how a lot of times,
I don't think I knew that.
it's the stuff that you don't hear that makes your skin crawl.
Oh
It's
my
the
God.
it's the stuff you don't hear. So, and again, circling back to what you were saying too, L, like I know a lot of times me and the missus were talking, and she had brought up my job for a prime example. And a lot of people that work in education, they're kind of like, okay, we do know that we have a budget that's set in place, and with the next school year rolling around the corner, and especially with Trump talking about how he wants to shut down the Department of Education, it's like, um, you know, that's a lot of people's livelihoods as of right now. And if mm,
That is so fucked up in so many ways.
it is, it's so like what will be happening? Like, well, as of right now, from what I do know is that I still have a job. That's fine. And then when the next school year comes around, like we really don't know what's going to happen, and it's really based upon the funding. However, if the funding gets screwed up on the federal level where we have to cut corners yet again, then it's going to hit very close to home. And so she was like, "So what are you thinking? What are you thinking?" I'm like, well, depending upon the next few months and what my boss says, is really going to dictate how I'm going to plan for the next school year. Mind you, the school district that I work in, it's not necessarily big, but at the same time, my building in particularly, on average, we're probably one of the better buildings within the county as far as metric wise go. And so, of course, me and a bunch of the secretaries, we were talking, like, yeah, it would be fun if we could combine two schools in one, like have two building principals, have two secretaries, because just one of us to do the job to maintain the school, it's never going to be enough. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, even if we had two, it is still at least help because we know a lot of the kids, we know a lot of the parents, yada yada yada. And like, yeah, sure, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it does make sense. But then again, in the back of my mind, I'm like, but then again, it could also be a really good power struggle because who gets to be, you know, the first and who gets to be second, who gets to, call the shots and who gets to just be the runner, for crying out loud, or for lack of a better word. So there's a lot of stuff we talk about that we're very much on edge about because we live in a world of uncertainty. But we do know that regardless of what the Fed says, um, I think for the next 10 years, like every kid who comes to our school district, they're going to have free breakfast and free lunch for the next 10 years. And that's because the person who oversees our um, our breakfast and lunch been putting in work to make sure kids don't go to school hungry. Like you
Mm-hmm.
don't like it's not an option. Like if you want breakfast, I don't care if you eat breakfast at home or whatever the case may be, you're gonna get a breakfast. And even then with lunch, even if you brought a sack lunch and you're still hungry, you can get a lunch because it's already been paid for. You don't have to worry about it and
Mm-hmm.
again for the next 10 years. And so, we're just very fortunate to be one of those school districts where we have that in place, just in case if things on the federal level goes kerplunk, you know. So it's really there. But even then, we talked about her job and how a lot of things in her neck of the woods, it ain't looking hot either. And so it's affecting everywhere. It's affecting everywhere. And again, like you were saying too, El, how like people are trying to run this country like a business, like you can't. You can't. Like, how in the world are you going to, let's be honest, say, oh, we're gonna cut, you know, how many hospitals are open, and yet we are like not even top 20 in the world as far as the best healthcare in the world. Like you can't do that because we're already bad enough as it is anyways. If you cut hospitals and hospital workers, you're just going to add on to the facts and not necessarily help it, let alone the person who you got to lead the Department of Health and Human Services probably isn't the best candidate in the whole wide world, but whatever. If you want everything to implode from the inside out, sure, go for it. But again, it's just really those conversations that we have and we talk about, and like you, El, there's just so many things that are so interconnected to each other that it's not even funny.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mish.
Mish.
Coming on. Right what we're about to.
Oh snap! Not at the
Yeah,
end.
I
Yeah.
know. But you still came. That's all that
Yes.
matters.
Glad you came. This is a song that I rediscovered with one of my sisters a few weeks ago on President's Day. I was like, memory unlocked of freaking high school homecoming or something. I was like, you put a spell on me, spell on me. Anyway, so we're glad you came.
Yes.
Glad you came. Oh, let me not get this stream taken down.
I remember that song.
Yeah, you just.
Yes. Yes, I know that song. Yeah.
Swedish House Mafia, maybe? No, it's not them. It's another Swedish-based group.
I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came.
Mm-hmm.
The Wanted. I think my sister was trying to figure out what group this was. She was like, it's some group. They're not, as big. They were like a boy band, but not, One Direction or not like some other big one. And I was like, I have no idea what group you're talking about. But then we were playing or mentioned Glad You Came, and I was like, holy moly. And then even when I look at it now, it's 57 million. 57 million views. That is tiny compared to some of these mega hits that you'll see that have like hundreds of millions, even a billion plus. And I was like, dang, am I the only one who had this specific nostalgia? But anyway. Anyway.
Oh my god. And Toby's not seen this.
Toby, read, sir.
I'm glad you came. Definitely not a song for the Trump admin times. Well, not glad necessarily for that. I guess what Trump came into office. I don't know if there's another meaning to it that I'm not gonna think too hard about because
that's gross.
Yeah, it's very disgusting. But yeah. Yeah, there's a lot that's going on. Sorry, it's just been like, oof, gosh, and there's just so much happening right now. I've not been like I follow things, but I also don't. Like, I still haven't watched whatever nonsense shouting match happened in Ukraine or in the Oval Office with Zelensky and all that. But I know there's stuff that's been happening. I know tariffs got kicked into effect today. I know there's some other things that have happened. But it's just like, man, like, there's so much, and I don't even have time to digest it all either because I have to, once we get off of here, make sure I get some stuff ready for tomorrow. If I don't travel tomorrow, which might be likely, I will have to travel first thing Thursday morning. So it's just like, oh my gosh, things don't stop. Things don't stop. I still got life to life, and then just trying to keep up with all the stuff as well.
Yeah. It is really something.
Yeah. So this administration is a choice. It's a choice. That's all I can describe. That's a take. I guess that's the thing we could be doing. That was a choice, America.
Yeah. Unfortunately, what isn't a choice is time ticking. Yeah. And unfortunately, that means that our show is coming to a close. Yeah. As always, thank you all so much for watching.
Yes.
Seemed like a lot of people came tonight. Hey! Hey, Aisha! Oh.
Hello.
You know, the furthest been around you all first. Yeah, no, good point.
I guess the short news is I don't know many people, if any. No, I don't know. Like, there's people who I can guess, like, just from my Facebook. I could find if I really wanted to find someone they're more acquaintances, people who I pretty sure voted Trump because they seem to lean that direction even back in 2020. But I'm like, I don't really know these people, and I never see their stuff, so I don't know like person people where it's like, yeah, that guy's a Trumper, that woman's this. Actually, because I do know one person, I won't even say who the person is. I don't think anyone of you really know her, but she was someone who I counted on Facebook in the sort of Black for Yang group. Not in our Twitter, McCoy. So that's why I said you wouldn't probably know the person, but like she admitted to me like through text that she voted for Trump in 2020. Ironically, after she posted like a lot of things on Facebook about Black Lives Matter and how people are racist and how she had to block and unfriend people, and then she texted me after the election how she voted for him, and she was very
Like in
apologetic.
2020, not 2016.
2020. Oh yeah, because
Wow.
of like Black Lives Matter, like after the like in
George
2020,
Floyd.
like the
Yeah.
same like George Floyd and all, because she was like Blacks for Yang. So I met her online in 2020 or maybe 2019, probably early 2020. And then we would like message every now and then just about other stuff. 2022, she wasn't involved. She didn't vote. I was like, you should vote for ranked choice voting because she was in one of the swing states out there in the Southwest. And I was like, you should vote for ranked choice voting, which passed, though it ended up failing this year because it was like a 2-part measure that needed consecutive votes. But she mentioned voting against it this year, which whatever. But she mentioned again how she voted, secretly voted against Kamala, which she didn't say, I think, that she voted for Trump, but she definitely was like, she secretly voted against. And I was like, interesting. I haven't kept in touch, though, because like at that point, things were crazy. I was traveling from Boston back home, and I think she did text me a bit like election day or the days after, and we got back to her. So that's actually a reminder. I should probably hit her up and see her opinion on everything because I don't know. I feel like she is not that she's not engaged, but I feel like she's not a hardcore whatever. She's considered herself more independent in some ways, but it would be interesting to see someone like her's reaction to everything going on if she really rocks with Elon Musk and all of his shenanigans and everything, or if she just kind of wanted the simple like, hey, inflation's high, we need to do something about it. I don't trust Kamala and the Democrats. Especially those like Trump. When you say those like Trump, is that like people who literally like Trump? Like if you go to Trump's Facebook page, you'll see people who like him as a person. Like it says that they like him. Because shoot,
I think that might be it. Like it could be kind of iffy doing it that way because some people don't really use Facebook that much. They could have just liked him back in like. I mean, honestly, I can't really think of like a time, but because it's like he was also very pro like Obama is like show your birth certificate type of crap. But as I gauged it for easier filtering. Okay. Like, I don't want to be a bad idea to like look into that just to see because I mean I honestly I mean from what it seems like I think I follow Ron DeSantis, like the governor of Florida, on Facebook just to see his posts, just to see like what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
'Cause it's my freaking state. So
yeah.
I don't really like any of his posts or comment or anything. I might like somebody who commented something negative about him, like I might do that occasionally. But like I don't actually like Ron DeSantis. Like no. It's just so gross how people are like, yes, best governor. Like, no.
Yeah, I know like Trump, I'm pretty sure I still follow him. Real Donald Trump, I started following him around the 2016 time. And I mean, I know some people could have like a blockchain, like if they're really intense and be like, I'm going to block anyone who follows this guy. But it's like, yeah, there's a lot of Trump haters who literally make it their life mission to comment on every single one of Trump's posts. So it's like, you're actually going to end up, I'm not saying directing this to you per se, Aisha, but like, I know like those people who do those excessive blockchains, I'm like, y'all are going to like end up filtering out actual Trump critics as well. I know on Facebook, apparently though, some people ended up liking / following automatically Trump on Facebook and Meta. And it was like a semi-controversy because people woke up to find that they were suddenly following / like liking those pages. And some of it's because you like the general POTUS account and that will carry over. But there were some where they ended up liking personal accounts for Trump and JD Vance that they never had liked before. I completely forgot about that, but that was a thing I remember reading about shortly after inauguration. And they said, this is zucking things up because, he's zucking up to Trump. This happens when zucks up to Trump. But, and you could be even more graphic if you want, but I won't. I'll try to be a good, godly boy. This man, anyways. But anyway, you can think of what else you could talk about with Zuck. Yep. So, yeah, it's, it's some crazy stuff. It's some crazy stuff that it could be like big tech playing shenanigans. But anyway, I know I kind of took us off track again. So watch your social media. If the algorithm seems fishy, it probably is.
Yeah, my algorithm has been, all of Meta, like Facebook, Instagram, is just like horrible. I remember when Trump was elected the first time and like how drastic like my algorithm switched. And then once like Biden was elected, it kind of switched back to like, obviously being in like an echo chamber. But I feel like this time I'm like still kind of like in the Biden echo chamber, but like a little bit like little hints of like Trump existing here and there. So yeah, like Facebook got just like really bad because like I see so many like just accounts and posts that I do not follow or didn't like or anything that's showing up on my feed, just like Instagram. And it's just, yeah. So like, I don't know, social media has gotten everything but social.
Yeah. Anti-social media.
Right. But yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to land this plane. It is nearly midnight. I am exhausted. Yeah. I'm sorry. I love you all.
Not a near landing, but an actual landing.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry. My humor is not okay. I'm so sorry, y'all. We got to cope somehow. But yes, continue, Al.
Yeah. Just want to say that, first, like, we love you all. We love you guys.
Yes.
Just gonna share the Discord. Join us in the Discord if you want to keep this conversation going.
Yes.
That's the invite. And yeah, with that said, please join us on the next episode in 2 weeks on Tuesday. That will be, let's say, so that'll be like 11, the 18th, if my math is mathing correctly.
Yeah.
And yeah. So with that said, have a great night, everybody. We love you all. You guys are amazing, beautiful, sexy human beings.
Yes,
and that's why we like you.
It's like I'm lagging, but I'm trying to also give y'all some hearts if I wasn't lagging. Unless y'all see me, but I'm lagging like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, y'all. We love y'all, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
See you guys.